Welcome to my channel. Welcome, Virgo. Thank you so much for joining me for your weekly messages again this week. I do want to mention that I am doing extended relationship readings on Vimeo this week, so you will see the link to that in the info box below. I am changing the format, and the relationship messages are a you and them message. So we look into both of you individually and see where you're lining up or not. And like I said, the link to that is in the info box below. If you find that you would like a private session with me, you can certainly schedule that on my website, which is IamEmilyGear.com. So getting into your energies, the first thing that I'm really feeling here is a need to slow down. I'm feeling like you might be feeling like you are running around desperately trying to keep all the plates from falling or the other shoe from dropping, or keeping all the details nicely tied up. But I am getting this feeling of you need to slow down and just kind of center a little bit. I'm actually getting the feeling that the details are not important right now. They're not as important right now. Of course, that doesn't mean every area in your life you can't just not show up for work or whatever, but maybe you can schedule some days off, or maybe you can delegate, or maybe you can simply choose to let certain things go. I mean, there are things in our lives that we become obsessed about that are not as important as we think they are. If we really tap in deep and we look internally, we make a better connection to what's really important to us, what really aligns with our energy. So there's a sense of self-compassion that we need to make sure we're employing this week. And that's going to mean creating space in our lives between ourselves and other people, sometimes between ourselves and routines. That seems to be important, actually. It's like these sort of things that kind of lock us into a behavior. Those are places where Virgo specifically can create space for themselves, because the routine begins to take over and it becomes like a robotic kind of function. And then we become separated from ourselves and what we really want in our lives, from those and that which we love, from all of those things that are really meaningful. We become separated from them because we become so invested in routines, which provides a certain amount of comfort and can be helpful. There is a place for that. But as we've discussed a number of times, we're in a period of needing to sort of surrender into or relax into the divine feminine. And those routines are part of our masculine side. So it's not that we need to completely destroy them, but there might be an overabundance of these things. And this can be anything from, pre-work rituals, like rituals as in, I get up at this time every day, I get dressed between this moment and this moment, and then I have my coffee at exactly this time, and then I drive to work on this route. It's sort of about what, in what ways can we start to honor ourselves by regarding our intuition as equally as important as the structures in our lives, okay? And not only that, but the things that we love or what we love, or connecting to our emotions, that kind of stuff. Because we put those on hold the majority of the day. And when we engage in our routines, those are probably fairly emotionless movements, because that's what makes routines easy. You don't have to think about them. You don't have to feel them. You just do them and something gets accomplished. It doesn't require an additional investment. So I think that the advice for this week is finding balance in between the two. And some of those routines can be let go of because they're outdated. They're no longer useful to you. They're not creating the kind of result that you thought that they would, or they used to, because things have changed. Your whole life has changed. Your energy has changed. The energy around you has changed. The energy is very dynamic right now. And so anything that's static is not serving you in the same way that it once was. Okay. Again, I know Virgo, I'm a Virgo rising, so I can say this. We like our routines. We take comfort in them. We don't always like a whole lot of variance in certain areas of our lives. I also love adventure and things like that, but that's a different piece of me. So there are things in my life that I like to be very structured and routine oriented. So we need to let go of some of that. It's time to let go of it. I'm feeling this sense that once we do let go of it, that creates this attraction point for pulling in new experiences that are positive, that are what we have been trying to manifest this whole time, but we've been blocking it actually by the stagnant energy and by the kind of robotic energy that we are carrying around with us. So this is a week to break through that and break out of it, to use this. Today actually is the Lion's Gate 8-8. And, you know, regardless of when you're hearing this, this message is still valid. But if you are hearing this around 8-8, this is definitely a potent manifestation portal where we can use this energy. And the way that Virgo needs to do it is by letting go of the rules that we set for ourselves, the routines, the order that we place in our lives for comfort, because there is a certain discomfort that we're encountering as we relax into the divine feminine, because we are so used to being in the other energy. But it's time to become balanced. It's time to balance that out and really be in the fullness of who we are, not just half of who we are. So the fullness of who we are is the truth of who we are, right? There's a lot of fear, I think, and uncertainty, and maybe even like sort of spinning mind motion, mind hive or mind congestion that I feel like surrounds what happens when I ditch my structure. And you are fully capable of dealing with your life once you take the artificial structures out of it, once you are simply being who you are. And again, I'm not saying you take all the artificial or all of the structure out of it. Probably all the artificial structures, yes, but not all the structure out of it. There's a benefit to that, but I feel like it's a little bit mind over matter for you guys when it comes to releasing the fear that surrounds kind of the unpredictability of the divine feminine, of the intuition, of the sense of taking away the things that you can potentially just rely on or expect, the expected. We love the expected, right? This is going to be more of a moment by moment. And that, you know what, when we live moment by moment, it keeps us by definition in the now, which is where we need to be. There's an entire, I feel like there's an entire treasure trove of fulfillment and happiness and bliss, which we don't dig into because we are so chained to our habits. This is actually opening us up to being able to access that. We've actually been blocking it. And isn't this always the way, that we are the ones in our own way? We are the ones that are blocking our own path. And that is literally the case here. It's really about relaxing that mental process, relaxing the mind, and realizing there's a place for the mind, but it's not here. It's not here. We need to begin to allow the experiences to simply come into our lives, and we react intuitively in the moment, not shall we say in a reactionary way, but we are going to choose our behaviors in the moment based upon our intuitive feelings, okay? That in itself is creating space from the lives that we've lived so far, from the routines, from the schedules, from the day-to-day kind of business aspect of our lives. This is a richer, more emotional, more intuitive, more receptive energy. It's richer. It's going, if you've been saying to yourself, God, my life is so dry sometimes, I'm so bored with it, it's so stressful, it's whatever, this is what is needed in order to allow the richness to flow in. Because you are as capable of living that way as anyone else, as any fire sign, as any water sign. This is your manifestation power right here, and that is letting go. Letting go is your manifestation power, at least for this week. But I feel like this message is a bigger message, one that is valid from this point forward. Because the energy that we're using to create, as I mentioned in one or another of my past videos, if you look at the one that I recorded for the Lionsgate, and if you look at the one that I recorded, the energy report, and the one that I recorded for the new moon in Leo, both of those talk somewhat about the divine feminine and in the fact that we have a new energy that we're working through. And this is that divine feminine energy. It's for each one of us. We're not just talking about women or people holding the divine feminine template. We're talking about everyone, because we each have that energy within us. Of course, you know this. If you're on my channel, you know this. And so just allow it. Allow this to take place. Allow this to happen. Allow this change. I think that we sometimes, will grab onto our habits and our processes and our schedules and the mundane, because we think we have to, and there's this sense of guilt if we don't. That does not serve us anymore. It just needs to go, and we need to empower ourselves. That's a kind of enslavement. Honestly, being enslaved to the routine or to the habitual. It's addictive, even. So this is breaking that addiction. This is empowering the self, breaking away from the mundane, and beginning to create out of, sorry guys, boys, quiet. Beginning to create out of this full surrender to the moment, to the intuitive. So my dog's going to go apeshit. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Shh. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I appreciate all your likes and shares. There must be somebody delivering something outside. I can't. In any case, I hope you'll join me over on Vimeo for the relationship reading. And if you don't, then I will see you again next week, Virgo. Thanks again, and talk to you soon. Bye.